New Horizons NPCs deserve better, and here's why. I already talked about the problem that I have with Animal Crossing, and while I love this game, I want to pick it apart some more. So let's talk. Much like the villagers in New Horizons, the NPCs seem very flat and one-dimensional. You'll get a bit of lore when talking to Sable in the Able Sisters shop, but beyond that, there isn't much to go off of. I miss the days where we were told about a love triangle between the Pelicans, or the friendship with Leaf and Timmy. I'm pretty sure it's Timmy. While I do like some NPCs more than others, I think they are all equally deserving of better conditions, and were unfortunately a product of the Flanderization taking place in New Horizons. I miss retail. We need that back. It should return in the next game with Reese and Cyrus running the ship, much like they did in New Leaf. That was their mom and pop business, and I loved it. There was no reason to close their shop and have them work out of an RV, and as I've talked about before, all Reese does is be a hype woman for her husband. It would definitely bring more life to the game to have more shops as well. And like in New Leaf, they could cut a deal where you can sell things to Timmy and Tommy, but they get a cut of the profits. So your main source of selling and buying items would be from retail with the flea market option. I think we also just need to get rid of the vendors using their RVs altogether and let them open up their shops again. We need Main Street or a city to go back to so we can have more to do. A game in an urban environment, or at least with the option of visiting a city like in City Folk or even Hello Kitty Island Adventure, would be great and give players more to do and add a nice change of scenery. Right now, we only get that change of scenery by going to Cap'n Islands or visiting a friend, and there's only so much to do there before you get bored. At least that's my opinion. Give Isabelle more to do instead of being Nook's sidekick. She was also our assistant in New Leaf, and somehow I feel like her working for Tom is more of a demotion instead of the promotion that she deserves. I'm not quite sure what she could do exactly, but giving her some other thing to hang on to instead of just sitting behind a desk and yapping at us all day would be great. While we're at it, bring Digby back and let him work at whatever venture Lottie will undoubtedly be in charge of. I'm sure that we'll get more DLC similar to Happy Home Paradise in the next game, and having him be a part of it, much like he was with Nook's Homes, would give him a bigger role, as in New Leaf he kind of just stood there. He's Isabelle's twin brother, and there are a whole lot of people whose first game was New Horizons and they don't even know that he exists. Move KK back to the Roost. I think it was in City Folk or Wild World, one of the two, where he played in the Roost. Having him in front of resident services doing his concert every week is really a huge nuisance in my opinion. While it's definitely nice to see all of my villagers crowding around him to listen to his music, he blocks the door pretty much and makes it very difficult to maneuver around the space. Having events in the plaza is fine, like the Bug Off and the Fishing Tourney and our visiting NPC rotations, but KK shouldn't take up the entire plaza, especially during inclement weather. I hate seeing everybody sitting out there with their rain gear, or when it's snowing in their winter gear, and having KK strumming along on his guitar and singing. It really takes the immersion out. I don't know about you, but if I'm going to a concert in the winter, I'm going indoors. Bring back the post office. Please. I understand promoting Label to work in place of Gracie. Maybe Gracie retired or she's working on more furniture sets, I hope, to have more things that we can spend our bells on in the future. But the decimation of the post office is absolutely criminal. I miss the Pelicans, believe it or not, and they were simply just replaced with a postcard stand in the airport. The Dodo brothers are fine, but there was so much lore, like I said earlier, with the Pelicans. And as an aside, I always loved seeing Pete wandering around my town in New Leaf when he was delivering the mail. Plus, we need an NPC with an attitude back in this game, and Phyllis is a perfect candidate. Everyone's too happy and sweet, like I think I alluded to earlier, and it gets really annoying. Give Celeste her shop back. I've said this so many times before, especially in New Horizons, because the museum looking asymmetrical with nothing on the right side bothers me to no end, and I know other people feel this way too. Much like Reese and Cyrus, Celeste needs her shop back, or at the very least give her the observatory like in the older games. She needs something else to do instead of just wandering around our island gawking at the shooting stars. Speaking of shops, let us upgrade it more. This would give Timmy and Tommy more of a role in the game, and make it so Leaf could have a stake in there too, like he did in New Leaf. He had his little gardening corner, which in my opinion was much better than waiting for him to visit our islands or waiting a week for his RV to refresh the co-op. Again, this goes back to getting villagers out of their RVs and into more shop settings. I think that we really could do with that. I know in this game, we were building up a deserted island, and that definitely doesn't include a shopping district, although it could. And some people have been very creative with making their own shopping districts outside with some of the bigger furniture pieces like the castle items and the medieval walls and whatever. I'm not that creative though. However, I like to think that I am. But overall, I think that we just need more locations to visit, and that would give the NPCs more to do. Also, bringing their personalities back to what they used to be in the older games instead of the sanitized flanderization would be great as well. I think I made some good points here, and I'm sure there's more to talk about, but I feel like this only just scratched the surface of how NPCs could be improved in the next Animal Crossing, and a lot of that has to do with bringing them back to their former selves from the eras of the older games. And yes, I know I didn't mention Booker and Copper, but I'm not sure what they could do here. The Pelicans at least had some background and would let us store mail, which I enjoyed, instead of just leaving our mailboxes full to the brim. But the police dogs were essentially replaced with the recycle bin in resident services, which acts as a lost and found. And since Isabelle was upgraded in the 2.0 update to let us know of our daily visitors more often than not, I don't know what the police dogs could do in the next game other than what they're currently reduced to now. Inviting them for coffee at the Roost, getting posters from Harv's, and building a vacation home for them. But let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are. How do you think that NPCs could be improved? Do you think that they're fine in New Horizons? I want to have an actual conversation here. Don't just listen to me yapping and say that you agree. I want to know like what you guys actually think. I know Nintendo is never going to see this video because I'm too small of a creator, but I really think that everybody's opinion is valid and matters, and here is me throwing my hat into the ring and speaking into the void about how I think the game could be improved. This is by no means me dunking on New Horizons. I do love the game and I've gotten thousands of hours of enjoyment out of it, but I think that it's time that we look to the future more, especially as the Switch 2 has been out, and I'm hoping that we do get another release announced in the near future. I don't know anything about that though, so please don't ask me. Like I think I said back at the beginning of this, I've made other videos too on New Horizons, things that I like, don't like, aspects that I think could be completely overhauled, changed slightly, or removed entirely. If you're interested in watching any of those videos, I will leave the links to them down below so you can check them out in case you want to hear me talk further about this. Like I said though, I really do love this game and this franchise. New Leaf was my first game, actually Pocket Camp was, and then New Leaf, and now we're here with New Horizons, and I think that we can only go uphill from here after this slight dip in quality. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments, feedback, and suggestions down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!